How to stop giving a F. Before I start this video, I would like to clear up a misconception. When people imagine not giving a F, they usually misunderstand its meaning. You probably assume it means being unconcerned about anything and not caring about anything at all. However, this would imply that you are rude, inconsiderate, irresponsible, and a host of other negative traits. It means you don't give a damn what happens to someone or society, demonstrating a severe lack of feelings which eventually leads to a lack of empathy. That person can be labeled as a psycho, and this is not what we want to be like. Now we have that out of the way, let's get into the lessons. Lesson 1, it's okay that life sucks. Maybe you trick yourself into wishing for your life to be perfect all the time. It's important to recognize that things will not always go as planned. Events will go wrong, people will behave selfishly to your expectations, horrible things will occur, and you will be unfairly beaten down far too regularly. But that's to be expected. I also believe that positivity can be beneficial in balance, but that, like with anything, too much of a good thing can cause more harm than good. Being over-optimistic will lead you to assume that everything is intended to go smoothly, and you'll become overwhelmed if you see too much negative stuff occurring regularly. This is because you will not be able to see your desires fulfilled the majority of the time. You'll keep trying, spending your energy in pursuit of an unreal ideal that you may never achieve, and all you'll get is a rising sense of disappointment. Lesson 2, suffering is essential to your growth. You can only progress by going through discomfort, suffering, and pain. This occurs because the only source of suffering is a desire for change. Mark Manson writes, "We suffer for the simple reason that suffering is biologically useful. It is nature's preferred agent for inspiring change. Pain motivates change because it causes discomfort, and when you're uncomfortable, you'll seek comfort, which leads to change. So the next time you're in pain, instead of viewing it as a negative experience and attempting to avoid it, accept it, allow yourself to feel it, and be certain that it exists for a reason. If you do this, you will not only feel the discomfort lessen, but you will also become used to it. You'll come to appreciate its existence in your life. Lesson 3, you're not different. You may be made to believe that you are special in some way throughout your life, either because you believe you are better than everyone else, or because you believe you are a victim and everything is working against you. Truthful news. You're not exceptional, you're not different in any way. You have your problems to deal with just like anyone else. You'll need to feel good about yourself all the time, which will be an obstruction to accepting your problems when you should be dealing with them instead. And why isn't entitlement a real solution? Because you'll need to feel good about yourself all of the time if you have entitlement, which will prevent you from accepting your difficulties when you should be dealing with them instead. Lesson 4, you are 100% responsible for everything that happens in your life. Yes, you read that correctly. 100%. Ultimately, we are responsible for our decisions, which influences how you choose your values and how you react to certain situations. It all boils down to taking ownership of your life. It's about taking ownership of your life and deciding to be responsible for it, as well as accepting responsibility for your difficulties. This is a critical phase in problem solving. You'll stop avoiding your responsibilities and start dealing with your problems as soon as you realize this. After all, they're yours. They don't arrive and vanish in the blink of an eye. This concept of accountability is critical, but it's also essential not to confuse accountability with blame. They're not the same thing, even if they're sometimes used together. So you can be either responsible and have the fault, or don't be guilty but still responsible. In the end, we choose our difficulties by how we respond to them. Genuine improvement can result from this awareness because, even if you can't control a specific situation that arises in your life, you know you can influence how you react to it. In reality, every action we take in life is the outcome of a decision. So think about how many decisions you've made in your life up to this point. Consider the decisions you still have to make. It implies that your accountability, and thus all that occurs in our lives, is based on your choices. Lesson 5, you'll die. Embrace it. It is the only way to eliminate entitlement if you are aware of it. We are afraid of what we don't understand, and we are also afraid of death because we don't understand it very well. That is why people refuse to think about it, speak about it, or even admit that it exists. If you're trying to prevent death to some extent, know that it won't make a difference because you'll die eventually. You probably don't realize it, but you're also afraid of life if you're afraid of death. And, despite the fact that you are alive, you are not living your life to the fullest extent possible. And how is fear of death impeding to live your life? It does so by giving you a blurred vision of yourself. Is this avoidance that creates all your rubbish rules that you decide to live by? Only when you confront death can you start thinking about your legacy and understand the real power you have over your life. You become aware of the need of defining better priorities, and all the shallow values that you live by stop making sense. By embracing death, you'll understand that your life matters. But not that it matters only, instead you have the power to make it matter the most. Well, that concludes this video, folks. Thank you for watching till the very end. And I hope you learned some valuable lessons from this video. If you did find any value from this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe.